Direct Connection is made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities and is made possible by the generous support of our members. Thank you. Live from Maryland Public Television, this is Direct Connection with Jeff Salkin.
Hello and welcome to Direct Connection. Coming up, we connect with expert advice on potentially dangerous drug interactions. But first tonight, the spread of the Zika virus and the summer of fear when it comes to routine mosquito bites. Joining us is Mike Raupp, professor of entomology at the University of Maryland. Mike, as always, great to see you. Thanks for coming by.
It's a pleasure to be here, Jeff.
So we're getting into peak mosquito season, mosquito bites all over the place, and it's almost like a misnomer. They're not, if one of them bites me on the hand, it's not biting off a chunk of skin.
No,
that's not what it's doing.
No, they have a proboscis, and this is the business end of the mosquito right here. These are called the stylets. She's going to take those stylets, she's going to jam them down inside of you, she's going to inject some saliva with an anticoagulant that's going to keep you from clotting. You don't want to throw a clot when she's feeding. And then she'll liquefy your tissue, and she turns on a little pump in her head and she sucks up your blood. That blood, the protein in your blood is going to become the protein in her eggs. So she's biting you to attain protein to lay eggs.
It's especially problematic this year because of the Zika virus.
Absolutely.
So the Zika virus is a huge problem in Central America, South America, becoming more of an issue in the Caribbean. Can be spread by mosquitoes and other ways, but in the United States, while we've had some cases of Zika, they haven't been contracted by mosquitoes, is that right?
Absolutely. There's been no local transmission. Right now we have about 800 cases in the United States. We have, I think, 26 cases right here in Maryland that are active. But at the present time, we've been lucky, there's no local transmission.
Still, we all want to avoid mosquito bites.
Absolutely.
This summer.
It's
and
a good idea.
That's what we want to zero in on here.
Okay.
So how do we do it?
Well, how do we do it? I think the best bet, again, to avoid mosquito bites, in my opinion, is personal protection, and there are many ways to do this. Number one, you can wear mosquito repellent clothing. That's always a good idea. This is pre-treated with a compound called permethrin. This is going to give you long-lasting protection up to 20 or 30 washes. But when I'm out working in the yard, I'm probably going to use a mosquito repellent to keep those mosquitoes off.
Sorry to interrupt,
sure, no worries.
Is this better than taking a regular shirt and spraying it a little bit with the DEET stuff?
Well, these again are pre-treated. I have these clothes that I will wear these if I go, for example, into the tropical rainforest in the area with malaria. And it's always a good idea to wear lightweight, light-colored clothing whenever you're outdoors and you have a risk of being bitten by mosquitoes. If we're going to treat our own clothing, I'm going for this one again. This is permethrin. This will give you even better protection than DEET, but DEET is also a good protectant, good mosquito repellent to put on over clothing as well.
Can you put this stuff on your skin, the permethrin?
Absolutely not. The permethrin does not go on skin, and none of the insect repellents we're going to talk about go on underneath clothing. They only go on exposed skin.
All right. Let's get to the fun stuff.
Okay,
you
the fun
brought
stuff.
us a box of mosquitoes.
I did.
And we love it when guests show up with
a box of
gifts.
mosquitoes, yeah. Which camera are we going to shoot over? Okay.
Somewhere in the middle.
Okay. Well, let's see. Let's get this lined up.
Where do you collect these? Do you breed mosquitoes at the University of Maryland?
I don't breed mosquitoes. I get these from my colleague Dave Obrochta. He has a laboratory. He's doing research on these mosquitoes. And Jeff, this is what we call, thank you so much, this is what we call the cage of fear. Now, there are about 200 or 300 bloodthirsty vampires in here. The first thing we like to do, or I like to do.
So there's no fear in Mike Raupp. You're just sticking your hand right in
I'm
there.
actually terrified at this moment. But you can see, I think. Can we get a look at this, gang?
We see it great. They all latched onto your hand.
Good. So obviously,
I could do the play-by-play. You've got 20 or 30
yeah,
mosquitoes.
Obviously, these mosquitoes are hungry. This is quite unpleasant. So we're going to get the hand out of the cage of fear. Okay. So these gals are hungry. They haven't eaten yet. The good news here, Jeff, it would take about 1.5 million of these little vampires to exsanguinate me in a minute.
What to you?
To drain my blood totally in a minute. So I'm going to be okay. Now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll spray a little of this repellent on. This is one of my favorites. This contains the active ingredient called picaridin. This is an alternative to DEET. Not everybody likes DEET. DEET is the gold standard of mosquito repellents. But this one is going to give me protection for up to 8 hours. And this is one I like to use when I go into mosquito areas where the risk of transmission of yellow fever, perhaps malaria is high. This is one of the products I think works really well. Now, Jeff, if you can do the blow-by-blow here on this.
Well, there's less to see. Right now we're seeing maybe 2 or 3 landings on your knuckles, and they're taken back off.
Yep, they're going to land. They're going to say, this isn't the right thing, and they're going to take off. I'm not being bitten right now. They will rest, but nobody here is attempting to feed.
All right, so the point of the exercise is that you're a really brave man.
Well,
and two, that this stuff works in terms of not being bitten.
Yeah, I've been called a foolish man for doing this, but this stuff really does work, and I think personal protection is one of your best bets. Now, as I said, DEET is the gold standard of mosquito repellents. I like the picaridin products, and if you want to go a more natural route, this is one called oil of lemon eucalyptus. If I'm working out in the yard and garden, this is going to give me 4 hours of very good protection, and this would be one I would probably wear as I work in the lawn here in Maryland.
Let me remind our viewers, if you have a question about mosquitoes, how to deal with them in your yard this summer, give us a call. We'll have the number up on the screen. You can also tweet your questions. The Twitter address is @MPT News. Now, I've seen ads for get rid of mosquitoes in your yard.
Sure.
I don't remember seeing them before this summer, but I'm sure it's always a concern.
Yeah, they've been around a while. Yeah.
If I call that company, what are they going to do?
Well, they're going to come out and they're going to do probably a perimeter treatment of various kinds of compounds. There are some that are more residual. The residual ones will probably be permethrin, and they're going to last for several weeks at the perimeter of your yard where mosquitoes will be resting. They'll kill those mosquitoes that are resting in these places. There are other organic approaches, and there are a number of materials that have been applied. If you don't want a synthetic product, there are some formulations that might rely on something like garlic oil, which in itself is a pretty good toxicant and will give you a shorter period of relief. But some people swear by these things, no question about it.
There's a school in my neighborhood, and in front of the school there's one of these sediment control ponds that's there to keep sediment from clogging up the Chesapeake Bay.
Sure.
But when I walked by it over the weekend, it's full of water.
Right.
So are we breeding mosquitoes right there?
Probably not. If you have dragonflies in that pond, if there are fish, if there are amphibians, if there are frogs and such, those guys in that pond are probably going to do an excellent job controlling those mosquitoes. Now, if these standing water bodies, and I get one, a little swale in my yard, it'll sometimes fill up with water and it'll stay full for up to 2 weeks. That's long enough to breed mosquitoes. For situations like this, what I use is a BT dunk. Now, these donut-shaped objects are formulated with a bacterium that's derived from the soil. It's called Bacillus thuringiensis israeliensis. It's going to dissolve in that water, and it's going to kill those developing mosquito larvae. So this is an environmentally very fine way, very sound way to eliminate breeding mosquitoes.
Where do you get that stuff?
You can get these at home and garden centers, the big box stores. These are readily available in lots of places.
Let's grab a phone call. Calvert County, this is Brenda. Brenda, thanks for the call. Go ahead.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Yes, thank you for taking my call. I live at the south end of Cove Point Beach, and we have to walk through the woods down from our house to get onto the beach. It's about, a couple of hundred yards. And people spray themselves. But what I have discovered, and I can't remember who told me this, that these past couple of years, I've taken at least 1 tablespoonful of vanilla essence, put it in a spray bottle, which is about, a pint bottle of water, shaken it up, and I spray my exposed areas, and I never get bitten.
Does it make you hungry?
Pardon me?
Does it make you hungry?
No, I smell nice, and apparently the mosquitoes don't like vanilla. Well, I would like to ask the gentleman whom you're interviewing whether that is the case. Why do they avoid vanilla?
Yeah.
Brenda, thank you very much. Great call. Also, lavender, I've heard.
Yeah, well, Brenda, they avoid vanilla because chocolate really is their favorite flavor. But all kidding aside here, essential oils have long been known to be repellent to many different kinds of insects, including mosquitoes. Now, the trick here is what we find with our essential oils is they can repel, but it's usually only for a matter of minutes. So this is not going to give you long-lasting protection, but by all means, if it gets you to the beach safely and it's working for you, Brenda, I suggest you continue doing that. It's a fine idea.
Let's drill on that into that for a second, because when she gets to the beach, maybe no standing water. Mosquitoes, I read, don't travel that far. True?
It's variable. There are some, like the pale marsh mosquito, that will fly up to 20 miles to lay eggs or feed. So they are often no, but they are often associated with vegetation. So they are going to be hanging out in places where there is low-lying vegetation. That walk through the woods is the most common place. But on your salt marshes, there are other species of mosquitoes that breed in brackish water, Aedes sollicitans and Culex salinarius, that will be common on beach habitats as well. So at the beach, it is a good idea to use those repellents.
Let's go out to Allegheny County. This is Lisa. Lisa, thanks for the call. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have two issues here. One is with pets. Is there a particular insecticide or spray that you recommend for pets? And the other one is I have rain barrels, and how often should I drain those rain barrels?
Thank you very much.
Great questions. I really have no data or no knowledge on how the effect of these would be on pets. I would suspect that they would be very effective, just as they would be on a human. But what I'd recommend in this case is to go ahead and consult your veterinarian and get their opinion on this. But I think the materials I've mentioned here probably would work fine to protect your pets as well. Now, in terms of the rain barrel, as long as you have that rain barrel well sealed at the top, you probably are able to get those mosquitoes or prevent those mosquitoes access to that rain barrel and deny them the ability to lay eggs. How often would you have to change an unprotected rain barrel? Well, I don't have a recommendation on that, but I will tell you that I recommend dumping your bird bath twice a week and scrubbing that out. When temperatures hit 90 degrees, 100 degrees, these mosquitoes will develop in basically a week. So you need to be emptying that bird bath at least once a week or twice a week.
Mike, before I'm totally out of time, let's do a quick recap. So far, mosquitoes haven't infected anybody with a Zika virus around here.
Correct.
It's possible. People want to protect themselves. You talk about long sleeves, light clothing, and a bunch of different potential sprays.
Right.
In addition to getting rid of the standing water.
Absolutely.
Run through the DEET and the other stuff real fast.
Okay. DEET and picaridin. 8 hours of protection under heavy mosquito pressure. This one's got an impossible name called IR 3535. Again, this is probably going to give you 4 to 5 hours. 4 hours out in the yard. If you want a botanically based product, I'm going with the oil of lemon eucalyptus.
All right, Mike Raupp, professor of entomology, University of Maryland, proprietor of the Great Bug of the Week website. Everybody should visit that. Mike, thanks for the time.
My pleasure.
Take the mosquitoes with you.
Okay,
if you wouldn't. Just ahead tonight, what you need to know about prescription drug interactions. We'll be right back.
The MPT app puts our programs right at your fingertips, so you can choose when to watch, what to watch, wherever you want to watch it. Download it now.
Sometimes
the tears,
I get a good feeling, yeah.
wanting to die. Nobody tells you
I believe
that without it,
I really do believe that
life can be appallingly boring.
something's got a hold on me, yeah.
You're making a
mistake.
Emma, this is really very promising.
I don't think this is such a good idea.
You've been talking to my mother.
I am about to commit murder.
She always had a bit of a dark side. Trying to scare me now. It'll give you a story.
He's in love.
I really wasn't. Stay away from my wife.
Any idea the pressure I am now under?
There is one stage that is the Met and Carnegie Hall. It is the Kennedy Center and a club in Austin. It is closer than any seat in the house, no matter where you call home. PBS, the great American stage that fits in every living room. Supporting your PBS station brings the arts home.
This is...
And joining us for this week's Your Health segment is Joe Logan, emergency medicine clinical pharmacist at the University of Maryland Medical Center. Joe, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me, Jeff.
We want to focus in on drug interactions, working in an emergency setting. Do you see these? Do you see people who come in having taken something that they shouldn't have taken with something else?
Yeah, we see this almost every day. There's a lot of common interactions that people just aren't aware of, and they think that anything that is over the counter is safe. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. A lot of disease states require dose adjustments, and a lot of medications will have interactions with the products that you can buy at your pharmacy.
What are the most common drug interaction mistakes that you see?
So some of the things that are very common in the emergency department are unintentional overdoses. So I think one of the most common ones is acetaminophen or Tylenol. It's found in a lot of pain medications that are prescribed by your physician. It's also found in a lot of cold medications, sleep medications, pain over-the-counter medications, and it's really easy to get a little too much of that medication.
Let me stop you there for a second, because somebody will have, all right, they have a bad cold or something, and they have a headache, so they'll take some Tylenol or the over-the-counter acetaminophen, and then maybe they'll reach for something they've seen advertised that cures a whole bunch of symptoms at once, but has more of the same stuff in it, and you get to a point where it's quickly toxic to the liver, right?
Absolutely. So a lot of the combination medications really rely heavily on acetaminophen or Tylenol, but exactly like you said, you have somebody who has arthritis, they might take the arthritis medication, which also has Tylenol, or when they have a fever, they might take just Tylenol for their fever, and you can quickly end up having too much, especially if they're taking it for multiple days at a time.
Now, within the world of prescription drugs, what do you see? What are some common interactions?
So within prescription drugs, a lot of medications will interact with over-the-counter and sometimes even foods. So for example, there's a blood thinner called warfarin, which a lot of people that have irregular heart rates might be taking, and that will interact with many medications. So antibiotics, for example, are a common interaction, as well as anything that is over-the-counter that begins with G is the common misconception. So ginger, ginkgo biloba, ginseng, garlic tablets, those types of things will interact with warfarin. That's obviously an oversimplification, so please ask your physician or pharmacist.
What happens? What goes wrong?
So depending on the interaction, the most common is that it will decrease the body's ability to get rid of the warfarin, and that means that you'll end up unintentionally overdosing or having too much medication in your system. It can make your blood too thin and put you at risk for bleeding.
So all of that was probably in the fine print on the, do you call it a monograph? Is that the term?
Absolutely.
Or the sheets of stuff that come with the from the pharmacy when you get the bottle of pills that probably not everybody's reading all the way through.
Yeah, there's a lot of good information on that monograph, but you're right, it's a little overwhelming to read through the 13 pages that goes into that. I think that one of the best things that your viewers can do is make sure that they see their pharmacist or talk to their provider, and make sure that those healthcare professionals have a full list of all the medications that they're taking. A lot of times those interactions are not the one you think it would be, so it's important to make sure that everyone's well informed.
It is one of the really positive things of the world of digital medicine and online medical records and pharmacies being more automated, that and maybe it's an argument you can tell me for keeping everything at one pharmacy so that when even multiple doctors were to prescribe different stuff, the pharmacy's computer would recognize if there's a known issue.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth there. Having one pharmacy is certainly going to be superior for catching problems with medications because that pharmacist will be able to see all of the medications that you're on. From an emergency department standpoint, I really appreciate that because I will sometimes call the pharmacy to see what you're taking, and having one place where all that information is available is extremely helpful to make sure we give you the right medications when you're in the hospital and not cause another interaction, another side effect.
Let me remind our viewers, if you have a question about drug interactions, give us a call. We'll have the number up on the screen, or tweet us. Twitter address is @MPT News. Now, the computer in the pharmacy still doesn't know what you had for breakfast, or what vitamins you're taking, or what herbals you might be using.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and that goes to full disclosure. Nothing is not important. So when your healthcare provider asks what medications you're taking, you want to include those creams, those herbal products, over-the-counter medications. For example, a common medication that's herbal over-the-counter is St. John's wort. It's touted as an antidepressant. What that does is it makes one of the liver enzymes hyperactive, and you can metabolize your medications too fast and not have the full effect of some of your important medications.
So it's not that it doesn't do anything, it's that it does something that people aren't aware that it's doing.
Exactly. So a common interaction with that would actually be with birth control, and it can make the birth control ineffective if you were to take the St. John's wort with that as well.
Wow, wow. Let's take a phone call. Talbot County, this is Philip. Philip, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Yes, hello. I just wanted to mention to the doctor that I've taken Benadryl many, many times over my life. And then I was prescribed Robaxin by a physician. The combination of Benadryl plus Robaxin caused hallucinations that were unbelievably scary. So I would caution people about the drug Benadryl that's sold as very much an allergy medication over the counter.
Wow. Philip, what was the second drug?
Robaxin, R-O-B-A-X-A-N, I think, or I-N.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the phone call.
Sure.
Philip, that's a really scary interaction to happen, and it is quite common because Benadryl or diphenhydramine is in a million different things that we do over the counter, like the acetaminophen. So the Benadryl is something that we call anticholinergic, and what it can do is it can cause your body to retain fluids, and so you have problems urinating. It can cause constipation, and like you mentioned, Philip, it can cause some mental status changes, so hallucinations, and some people might even lose consciousness or start hallucinating to the point where they need to be hospitalized.
How often do you see in your ER work, I think the medical term is compliance, that somebody's been prescribed something and they're either taking it the wrong way, they're taking it at night when it's supposed to be in the morning, or they're forgetting about it half the time. How do you judge that?
It's difficult to judge, and we rely on honesty of patients, and sometimes they're not always forthcoming. They don't want to admit or disappoint the healthcare provider by saying, no, I haven't been taking my medication, or I have been taking it more than I should because I was in more pain, or I wasn't sleeping still, or whatever the reason might be. I would certainly encourage everyone to give us the full information so we can make sure that we're treating everything appropriately. But it is really important to make sure you take your medications as prescribed to avoid some of these things that Philip was just mentioning, or coming into the hospital with other problems.
One confusing thing from a patient's perspective is when you have generic medicine that's made by a bunch of different manufacturers, the pills that they make look completely different for the same drug.
Yeah, that it can certainly be very dangerous. So you have a green pill and a blue pill at home, and they both are exactly the same, and so you might take one of each thinking that you're prescribed two different medications. It's really important to read those labels. Oftentimes, pharmacy will put a description on the bottle of what the pill should look like, so looking at that bottle and making sure you have the right medication inside will also help decrease the risk.
We'll get a quick question here from Laura in Baltimore County. Laura, you're on. Go ahead.
Oh, good evening. Can you tell tell me what is it about some of the blood pressure medications that may cost, my husband seems to cost more, and I'm trying to narrow it down.
Laura, we're going to cut it there just for time. We'll get you an answer on the air. Thank you for the call.
Sure. There's a blood pressure class of medications called ACE inhibitors. Things like lisinopril or captopril are generally what I think you're referring to, Laura. They can cause a chronic dry cough, and unfortunately it takes about 3 weeks or so in most people for us to see that cough, and it will take another 2 to 3 weeks for it to go away after the medication's been stopped.
Jill Logans with the University of Maryland Medical Center. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for joining us for Direct Connection. We're back Thursday with your money and business. Have a good night.
Your health segments are a co-production of Maryland Public Television and the University of Maryland Medical System.
This program was made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities.